Hello everyone, Justin with 511 Designs. Wanted to do a quick installation video on the L60 series of guards, 3560 up to 6060. So let's get started. First we're going to take off these nuts and the spring washers that are behind the two sets of nuts. I don't have the spring washers and all the other hardware on this guard, but you get the idea. One thing I highly recommend is using these spring clamps. You can buy these at pretty much any hardware store, but they're pretty much invaluable in trying to hold this guard in place and get it positioned where you want prior to drilling. We're going to start by sliding one of these bolts almost all the way out, and you're going to put the tabs in from the front on each side. You're going to slide the bolts back in. Then if you'd like, you can temporarily put the nuts on after installing the spring washers, but leave everything nice and loose for now. And you're going to hold this in place to the crossbar of the upper portion, which tilts. And then position that in and out where you'd like to have it. Get it even. Then take a Sharpie or something to mark the slot on each side. I just traced the outline of the oval in that lower portion. And I'm going to remove this, or at least pivot it down temporarily, and center punch the holes that I marked. And I like to start with a smaller bit, usually an 1/8 inch pilot bit. So I'm not going to bore you with drilling through on these, but so I'll pause the video momentarily. Alright, so I have the holes drilled in the crossbar of the upper guard. I ended up removing this upper portion and flipping it upside down. I found it much easier to drill that way. So I started with an 1/8 inch bit and then drilled through, and then came back with a 3/8 bit. So now just going to pivot this into position and put in the bolts that are supplied with the guard from the top side, followed by a washer and a lock nut. I'm not going to tighten anything up at this time. And I like to tell people as well, if you'd like to try to prevent rust or whatnot, if your equipment might sit outside, it may be a good idea to coat the inside of these holes with some grease, paint, silicone, something along those lines, just to prevent any chance of rust forming. Now let's move to the upper guard. So this one will go in through the front as well. hold it in place with a couple of these clamps. And when this is on your tractor, you're going to want to adjust this up or down to align the openings with the headlights, but it's all preference, whichever position you'd like to have it in. So once you get it positioned where you'd like, same process, trace just the upper 2 holes right now, and mark those, center punch them, and drill them. I've already got a couple holes drilled in this upper portion from a previous installation. So go ahead and put your bolts in here. Followed by a washer and lock nut. Again, you want to leave these loose for now. You can snug them up a little bit if you'd like, but there's no need to tighten them up at this point. So then what you want to do is, by just doing the 2 upper bolts first, it allows you to tilt this guard in and out to your liking. One thing I do recommend is keeping it away from this crossbar here and here. We don't want the guard making contact with the factory guard at any location other than the mounting points. If the guard's touching the crossbar, there's going to be movement, jostling, and that's going to wear away on the powder coat finish on the 511 guard as well as the factory guard. So I like to step that off approximately 1/4 inch or so. So just repeat the process. Clamp it on each side. Mark and drill the lower 2 holes and install the bolts, and at that point you can tighten everything up. Tighten up these nuts at the bottom till you get a good amount of resistance here where you can still rotate it, but it's not too hard and it's not just going to flop forward once you release the pin. So hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to send us an email at superjet511@yahoo.com or give us a call, 734-719-0311. Our contact information is on the back here. So thanks for watching. Hope this helps. Have a good day.